morning, Beacon and Founders families. I hope this Friday finds you all safe and well and getting through this virtual learning time as a family together, being able to support each other and receiving support from the amazing teachers and staff that we have at Beacon and Founders. I'm here today to just talk a little bit about the progress reports that we're going to use for virtual learning, and we have reached the first marking period, the first 2 weeks that has been evaluated by the teachers. They're going to spend some time this weekend finalizing those grades, and then on Monday morning you'll be able to look into PowerSchool and see those results and see what that looks like. So I'm going to do a little bit of explanation. I'm going to tell you that there's a rubric that we talked about last time that is available on the Beacon website. If you go to the virtual learning resources link and then go to the bottom of that, you will see a link to that rubric that I'm going to be talking about and putting up on the screen now. As you look at the rubric, you'll notice that there are 4 categories that are listed down the left-hand side, and it's attendance, work completion, student understanding, and effort. And then across the top you have not approaching, approaching, meeting, and exceeding. So the maximum score on this rubric for each class would be 16. So you should have a grade for each class that your child is currently enrolled in. You'll see in PowerSchool, you'll see a score for attendance, 1 for work completion, 1 for student understanding, and 1 for effort. So if you see that total points out of 16, maybe it's 12 out of 16, maybe it's 14 out of 16, you can see the particular area in which your child lost points in that class. I want to talk a little bit about the first one, which is attendance. Your child is expected to be checking in with each teacher each and every day. So for each class, they're going to get a score for attendance. That doesn't mean that they were marked present, because if they did not check in with at least 4 out of those classes, they're not going to be marked present for school for the day. Each teacher is marking them how over the 2-week period they attended their particular class. So I just wanted to make that very clear difference. Work completion is just that. Are they completing the work that is assigned? And I'm hoping that over the last 2 weeks you've noticed that the nature of the work has changed a little bit. We've moved away from some of the things that we had been doing, a lot of IXLs, a lot of worksheet type work, and there's some little bit of things that will get your child away from the computer, do some exploring, do some reflecting, and really doing some more creative work, and we hope to continue that as we go through the next 2 marking periods for the next 4 weeks. So take a look at that rubric, be looking at that as you look at each of your child's classes so that you can kind of reference what those numbers actually mean. So out of a score of 16, they would get a 4-point score for each of the 4 categories: attendance, work completion, student understanding, and effort. And you can see where they may be losing some points, and the most important part, where they could be working harder or working differently as they go through the next 2 marking periods. If your child got a score below 10, we talked about 10 being the passing score for the pass-fail determination on these rubrics. Failing the first rubric is not the end of the marking period. It is not the end of the course. So look at the areas in which they can improve to have a better score on that second rubric and certainly on that third rubric. These rubrics will apply to the quarter 4 grade only. Your child already has received grades for the prior quarters 1, 2, and 3. And in determining a final grade for the course, we're going to look at those grades as well as the pass and fail grades. So we're going to talk more about that as we get closer to the end of the year. What's really important right now is to understand that pass-fail rubric, that virtual learning rubric, and being able to talk with your child about it. If you have any questions about the data that you look at, again, starting on Monday, please reach out to Mrs. Murphy if you have a child at Beacon, or Mr. Trzigny if you have a child at Founders, and they can absolutely talk you through it. We are grateful to be sharing this journey with you. We are grateful for your children taking an active role in our school community, and please let us know how we can serve you better. Have a great weekend.